Welcome back to the All Ball Podcast, where it's all ball all the time. You are here with your hosts, Sean and Isaiah, as usual. This is episode number 26, and today we are going to be talking about probably the obvious, which is the All-Star selections or voting, I guess you can call it. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the Rockets versus Spurs, and then we're going to finish up with some power rankings. But before that, Isaiah, how are you feeling today, man?
Man, I'm excited. We're finally getting closer to that All-Star game, All-Star weekend territory. And It started off hot with mostly expected, but a couple of interesting selections for All-Star starters.
That's one word I guess you could use to say.
So, starting with the Eastern Conference, because this one, it was pretty standard. Mostly people you'd expect. Backcourt, you have Trae Young and DeRozan. Then front court, you have Giannis, Joel Embiid, and then captain Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so really no surprises there. Everybody here is pretty much deserving of the spot that they got. But then we go over to the Western Conference. And oh boy. So in the backcourt, we have Ja Morant and Steph Curry, which I'll get into that when we actually break down these selections. And then the front court, we have Captain LeBron, of course. Then it's Jokic, reigning MVP. And then Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins is an all-star starter in his very first all-star selection.
It caught me so much by surprise. I thought it was fake. I thought it was like a fake account that posted it. So I had to actually click on the Bleacher Report profile and make sure everything was legit. And I was surprised as everyone else was in the comments.
You see, I'm not gonna lie. I was very surprised too. Definitely thought that it was fake too. I saw it on this Instagram basketball page that I follow. And so I saw it, didn't believe it, immediately went to YouTube to watch them announce the selections. And sure enough, Andrew Wiggins was announced as an all-star starter.
Out of everyone else that was voted for on that front court for the Western Conference, he was probably the last person I expected to be starting. Draymond,
without a doubt.
I would have thought Draymond would have started before him.
I could believe that. But now that we've announced on, we can get into the breakdown now. So let's officially transition to that, and let's just say some people who definitely would have deserved that starting spot over Wiggins.
Okay.
Most notably to me, I think Karl Anthony Towns definitely deserved that starting spot over Wiggins.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that Rudy Gobert could deserve that starting spot over him.
Mm-hmm.
But, to go back to Cat, he's averaging more points. They're on better efficiency. So I don't understand why he was not selected as a starter, but Wiggins was.
I mean, I thought Rudy Gobert was going to start with, Jokic and Braun in the front court, because, we've talked about this before, how basketball is kind of transitioning to being positionless.
Yeah.
You could even see it in the Eastern Conference, because they have Embiid, Giannis, and then DeRozan and Durant. That's 3 of those are forwards. I don't know why they have Durant as a guard. He hasn't played shooting guard since
No,
he
no,
left
no, no, no.
Toronto.
They have. Oh, you said Durant.
I mean DeRozan. DeRozan hasn't played shooting guard since he left Toronto.
Yeah, and he for sure is not playing shooting guard this season.
No, he's not. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's just a fundamental issue with something in the system that they have, because DeRozan, I don't know if he's even gotten minutes at shooting guard this season, considering that the team has Lonzo, Alex Caruso, Zach LaVine, and whoever else that they have on the bench. I can't remember the whole roster right now, but they have plenty of people who are actually playing the guard position. And then most notably the name Zach LaVine, like I said, who for sure is going to be an all-star.
Mm-hmm.
So even he plays a lot of minutes, and he plays them at shooting guard. So I don't understand in what world does DeMar DeRozan fit into the backcourt for the starters? But I don't know, man. I don't know.
And one of the problems, though, that in the Western Conference is the Eastern Conference front court depth is a lot more than the Western Conference.
Oh yeah.
And I think that
I think it's pretty obvious since we have Andrew Wiggins as a starter.
Yeah, I think that like kind of translates to how powerful the East is this year, and even how they kind of were last year.
Oh yeah, man. The East is really terrifying. Like, obviously, we don't play in the NBA, but just the thought of going up against these Eastern Conference teams is a lot more terrifying than most of the Western Conference teams.
Mm-hmm.
Because even when you look at the guys who are having down years, like Jason Tatum is still a scary player. Julius Randle, when he plays well, is still a scary player. It's just the East has improved so well since LeBron has transitioned to the West.
Everyone, he's like a, what do you call it? Oh, he's just everywhere he goes, everyone leaves. They don't want to play against him as much as possible. I also thought Zach LaVine was going to start over Trae Young.
You see, that's what I wanted, but I knew it wasn't going to happen because when you just look at the numbers, Trae Young has better numbers. He's averaging more points. He's averaging more assists. And then efficiency, his is better. So it just, there was really no true argument to put LaVine in over him.
So as for the reserves, who do you think is the biggest snub?
Well, they haven't announced the reserves yet, so we don't really know yet.
Wait, I thought the people that are like on the bottom, or I guess you could say that aren't the starters in like the front court and guards are already kind of considered the reserves.
No. Reserves is the reserves are selected by coaches and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the reserves is a whole separate list. Now, granted, it's probably going to look somewhat similar to that list of people that were below, but still, you never know what could or couldn't change.
Right.
But if we want to talk about snubs, this is going to sound like a controversial opinion, but I think that Devin Booker was snubbed as a starter, and I think that he should have taken Steph Curry's starting spot. Because Steph has just played so terribly for so many games, and he just got a free pass into a starting spot because of who he is and not how he's performing.
I mean, yeah, it's popularity. It kind of feels like that's what happened with Wiggins, because Canada, I'm sure, had a lot of pull in the reason why he, is starting.
And then, I mean, he's on the Warriors, which is a really popular
that
team.
too.
But even to that extent, the fan vote is only 50% of the vote. So that means that the media and is it media and coach? It's media
It's
and
it's NBA players, media panel, and fans.
okay. So yeah, the players in the media, they they saw Andrew Wiggins playing well this year and they wanted to give him his credit too. There's no way that the fan vote carried him that much.
You don't think so? I think it was mainly the fans.
Yeah, I mean, like it definitely carried him, but I don't think that this was just the fan vote. Like I don't.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm saying that there definitely had to be some media and player input to get him there. It wasn't
Right.
pure fan vote. So
I don't know. I just still feel like every single person on the front court that's listed on here should have probably started over him.
and that's fair. I think that's very fair. Like I said, I think Gobert or Towns, either one, could have started over him. A matter of fact, my all-star voting panel was kind of funny because
Mhm.
I didn't bother voting for LeBron. It's like, all right, whatever. He's gonna get his votes anyway. I'm not voting for him. So
Yeah.
I voted for Jokic, Gobert, and Towns. So I just voted for three centers.
And nobody gonna go to the paint. Mm,
So yeah, that I definitely think that at the very least one of those two should have taken that spot.
yeah. I mean, was there okay? So, is there anything else you wanted to talk about? I mean, on the All Star stuff, it feels like the main thing was the Wiggins controversy.
No, because I already brought up my point about Devin Booker starting too. So that's it
Okay.
on that.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the Rockets versus the Spurs. Rockets got beat by like 30 points by the Spurs, and I didn't hear the end of it because from a certain Spurs fan. Um, yeah, my stepdad was clowning me and teasing me the whole game, the whole night into the next day. So honestly, Isaiah, I think the reason why he's clowning me so hard is because you brought him you brought him up, and then we were kind of like talking about it, about how we won, and then he was like, "All right, all right, all right," and well, yeah, now he got me back. So
Okay, I will say, that's my bad on that. I put you in the line of fire.
a little bit. Were were there any takeaways that you got from this game?
The main takeaway that I got from this isn't even a takeaway for our team. My main takeaway is that DeJounte Murray deserves to be an all-star this year. That
Mm-hmm.
that is for certain. My man is averaging nearly a triple double, and he's playing like it every game. Like he's scoring and assisting and rebounding his averages almost every game.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do you,
that is by far the main takeaway that I got from this game.
I hope he beats out Clay because you know
Oh
I
no,
don't have nothing against
I can
Clay, but
I can tell you now, Clay is definitely not getting selected because, like I said, the coaches decide the bench, and
oh,
they're not
that's right,
gonna.
that's right.
Yeah, they're not gonna vote for somebody who's only played like barely double-digit games, if that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I don't think he'd even be eligible to play if they did want to vote for him because he's only played a handful of games.
Yeah.
And then he definitely hasn't had all-star numbers. So.
Okay, so one of the takeaways that I had from the Rockets games is Jalen Green is starting to become really disappointing.
Oh man, you're starting to see it now. You're starting to see it.
Yeah. I, I don't want to say this yet, but not selecting Mobley is
No.
starting to hurt a little bit. But I'm not
Oh.
I'm not giving up on Jalen Green. No, I'm not giving up on Jalen Green. I'm not
Oh
saying
yeah, yeah.
that,
I get that. It's just
but
I still I want to stand on my point that I am glad that we did not select Mobley. I don't care how good he's playing, bro. I didn't want Mobley.
oh man, it's just oh man, Mobley looks like he already has so much more promise. Like he's already more solid. I think that's obvious, but Jalen Green hasn't showed many flashes. He showed some flashes, but yeah, I expected more out of him. And I know we've talked about this before, but he continuously has bad efficiency. He went 3 for 16 versus the Spurs.
Yeah.
I don't even
16
know
is so bad.
what's his field goal percentage. He's shooting 37% from the field.
Yeah, that's inexcusable. Like there's no explanation for that. You can't
20.
forgive 37%, 29 from 3. The only good thing he has is his 83% free throw percentage.
Do you think Silas has the guts to bring him off the bench?
Oh, clearly not. He's deserved it for a good long while now, and it's not happening. Yeah, and here's where I'm really gonna get crazy with it. I think his starting spot should get taken by his own friend, Josh Christopher.
Oh yeah, Josh Christopher has played really well this season. I've I don't know if I said this on the last podcast, but I think he should be getting 30 minutes a night, and so should Şengün. But I think Şengün still has stamina problems.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Yeah,
let me pull up Josh Christopher's stats for the season.
you
I mean,
see,
he's
and
only averaging
the
7 points, but
yeah, that's the thing. His like season stats aren't gonna accurately reflect how well he's playing because
mhm,
there were so many games where he wasn't getting proper minutes.
mhm.
But I
He's
mean,
shooting.
even in his limited minutes, you see here he's shooting 46, almost 47% from the field.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think that at the very least shows tremendous upside over Jalen Green at the moment as a starter.
His catch and shoot on the three balls looked really clean too, and
Mhm.
he's obviously at least he's a plus defender. I wouldn't say he's a great defender, but he's a plus
Yeah,
defender.
yeah. At the very least, he's a neutral on that end.
Mm. Shows great control in the fast break.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jalen Green. Man, it's I want to stick with him, but I think he needs to come off the bench now.
Yeah. I I think it's for the better of the team and for the better of Jalen Green to let
Mm-hmm.
him come off the bench. Maybe that'll trigger something in him to work harder so he can get that starting spot back.
Mm.
I don't know, but yeah, I think that's just a decision that needs to be made. He needs to be on the bench because what he's doing now is not cutting it.
I really thought he was going to be like KPJ whenever he came back from injury and, kind of turned it around, turned his season around.
Mm-hmm.
But that he was only good for like 2 or 3 games and then kind of went back to his old self.
Yeah, it's like he's the opposite of a normal player. Like a normal player, they'd come back, have a slow couple of games until they got into rhythm.
Mm.
But it's like for him, being out of rhythm is good. And then getting into rhythm is what makes him bad. His rhythm is playing bad.
Just the shooting splits show that. And his offensive consistency is at a all-time low.
It's an all-time low for himself. It's an all-time low for a top pick for the Rockets, and it's extremely disappointing. And I mean that with 100%, with 1,000%. He needs to be on the bench.
He's making me look bad because I think I predicted him as either him or Cade as the rookie of the year voting, winner. Mm-hmm. And he deserves to get benched.
Yeah, that's easy. And then that just makes it look even worse because Cade definitely isn't winning rookie of the year either.
I know. It's going to come down to Mobley or
Scotty Barnes.
There's someone else that I was going to say that might win it.
Franz Wagner, he had some good showings. I think he might be in the running. I know there was one point where he was first in the voting.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't think of any other rookies at the moment.
I think at a point at the start of the season to maybe about 30 games in, I kind of felt good about Giddey, but I never thought he was. I thought he was going to be close. Like he would be up there, but for the last couple of weeks, it's pretty clear it's going to be Mobley.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to go ahead and move on to the power rankings?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Bleacher Reports power rankings came out today. I'm just going to name a couple of teams and where they're at. And you tell me either, lower or higher. Okay. All right. Dallas Mavericks at 8.
I think the Mavericks maybe should be lower. Yeah, I think they should be lower, especially when you consider that horrible loss that they had at the hands of the Warriors a few nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think based solely on that and, their overall record compared to the other teams in the league.
Right.
They should be lower.
Miami Heat at 3.
I think that's fair. I think 3 is fair. They're the first seed in the East right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you think about it, the two teams in the West are at the top of the West, are the Suns and the Warriors, who by far have a better record. So I think with that being said, it's clear that they should be 3rd or 4th because the Grizzlies are the only team that's really in that running. Well, and the Bulls. The Grizzlies and the Bulls are all together with the Heat.
Right. Grizzlies are 4th in the power rankings.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, basically in that whole realm together, like I was saying.
Let me see if I can find another controversial team where they're at. The Jazz at 12.
Oh, no. No, that's unacceptable. That's very unacceptable. Like, don't get me wrong. The Jazz have definitely been on a skid recently with Gobert missing games. And I think Donovan Mitchell's out too.
I think he was out for a game or 2.
Okay, but they've been on a skid with their 2 best players out. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, the way that I view power rankings, it's primarily supposed to be based on the team's overall record, with recent events only playing into that partially. So that's why I think they should definitely be somewhere in the top 10, but just not high in the top 10.
Brooklyn at 13.
Okay. All right. So this is what we're doing here. This is what we're doing. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the Jazz. except instead of having both their best players, actually no. I mean, if you count Kyrie, then yeah, their two best players are both not playing, and they're losing games because of that. But this is ridiculous, man.
They got
13.
the Nuggets at 10.
Okay. I get it. The Nuggets have been playing really well recently, winning a lot of games. But over the Jazz and the Nets? What? I don't care. I don't care that the Nuggets just beat the Nets a few nights ago. They should not be over them in the power rankings. At the end of the day, the Nets are still a top 4 seed in their conference, whereas the Nuggets, they just barely are out of the play-in. They're sitting at the 6th seed. And honestly, the only reason they're that high is because the Clippers have lost pretty much all of their meaningful players to injury. The Lakers just suck, and Anthony Davis is made of glass and paper. And then the Timberwolves, they're just a good team that can't ever really maximize their potential. So those are the 3 teams right under the Nuggets, and they're at the 6th seed. Who's under the Nets? The 76ers are the team right under the Nets in the standings.
You know where the 76ers at are in the power ranking?
Oh no, please don't.
Take a guess.
I'm afraid that you're gonna tell me that they're higher in the power rankings, and that's really gonna bother me.
They're at 7.
Oh. Please tell me that you meant to say 11. Please tell me you meant to say 11. And you know what? Even 11 would make sense because they have the Nets at 13. So that still wouldn't work. But you know, this is why I prefer to stay away from Bleacher Report. Because what is this? What is this? This is not a power ranking. This is somebody's favorite team list. That's what this is.
I saw the first 3 teams and I was like, okay, this seems pretty right. I think we can go with this. They got Milwaukee at 6 and Cleveland at 5.
What? Why do they have the Bucks at 6? Why do they have the Bucks? Why do they have the Bucks at 6? But the Nets and the Jazz are 12 and 13.
Let me go ahead and read the little, couple
their
of sentences.
Descriptions for why.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear this.
This is for the Bucks. The Bucks went 2-1 this week, but Wednesday's loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers felt like a statement for the younger team, and the defending champions have quietly been a 500 team over their past 12 games. Still, it's hard to watch a week that contains a loss like this and a comfortable win over the red-hot Memphis Grizzlies and feel a ton of concern. Wait, what? Milwaukee may simply be one of those teams that can now flip the proverbial switch, and it may not need to until the playoffs.
So what I'm hearing is they had a really bad loss to the Cavs.
Mm-hmm.
But our excuse is they could flip a switch, and they just don't want to flip it yet.
It seems like they're just like they're acting like they're cruising through the season.
All right, you see, at the end of the day, cruising through the season is still cruising. You don't get to boost them in the rankings because you believe or you know that they can flip a switch and be better. That's not what the power ranking is about. It's not about what the team can be. It's about what they're doing.
I didn't even see this. They got Charlotte at 11.
You see, Charlotte has been playing really well, but they're not on the level of the Nets and the Jazz. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Wait, let me make sure this is not for this week.
No, it's definitely this week.
No,
it's about the loss to the Cavs for the Bucks.
Okay, yeah, it is. Yeah. Um. Okay, who do they have last? The Magic. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that I don't think there's any debate there.
They have us at 28.
Interesting. Okay, well, are the Pistons are
Yep.
29? Okay, so yeah,
Yep.
all of that makes sense.
They can get the bottom of the list wrong, but they can't get the top right.
Oh man, how, how could you? It's like they built a foundation. They're like, okay, we're gonna start at the bottom because the bottom's obvious. You just look at the overall conference standings and you kind of just you place the pieces there, and that's how you do the bottom. That works. And then they're like, okay, we're getting to the middle of the list now. How do we spice this up? How do we get those good clicks?
Clickbait.
Let's put the Nets and the Jazz in the middle of the list. Yeah, that's what the people want to see. That's what the people want to see. Yeah,
They got the Lakers at 19.
okay,
That
and
feels
that's
about
fair.
right.
Yeah, that's fair because the Lakers suck. The Lakers are getting hard carried by LeBron, which is embarrassing to say because he is 37. And we don't like this man as a player.
We feel
And,
bad for him.
and we still feel bad for him because their team is just so terribly awful.
Yeah, these power rankings from 15 down, they're kind of crazy.
Oh, brother.
Okay, was there anything else you wanted to talk about? Like, I mean, not really power rankings, but anything else going on around the league?
Let me take. Okay. On the topic of the 76ers, Joel Embiid has been playing really well, and he's really pushing himself into that MVP conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I did want to acknowledge on this episode because he's taken a noticeable leap within these past few weeks. And I think it just goes to show that this team, they need to make a move soon in order to maximize this peak Embiid that we're getting.
Are you talking about Simmons or are you talking about Toby? Because I've heard both being in the rumor.
Honestly, either or both works. But they need to make a move as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. I've even heard of them like being packaged together in a trade.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple times too. What I know for certain is that this Embiid that we're seeing is proof that this team needs to give up hope on trying to salvage things with Simmons because it's just gonna hurt Embiid's play more than it's gonna help.
Wasn't it Toby and Ben for Harden or something like that?
I can't remember because I was just seeing them like in various different packages. Like they were talking about sending them to the Kings, and like it was a bunch of different stuff that I saw. But the main center point that I saw there was that it was multiple deals where they were talking about putting the two of them in a package together.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Harden, do you heard the stuff saying that he's not really committed to Brooklyn?
Yeah, saying that he's going to test free agency.
Yeah, that's pretty great for Houston.
We won the trade. But no, in all seriousness, I think it's a pretty interesting thing. Like it makes sense because Brooklyn has definitely not performed up to their best standards. They're up to their potential, so to speak. And last year that was due to health problems. And now this year it's a mixture of health and Kyrie and Harden just playing below his usual standard.
Mm-hmm.
So with all of that happening, I think it is fair for him to want to test the waters in free agency. But at the same time, the whole reason that he wanted a trade out of Houston so bad was because he wanted to go somewhere where he felt like he had a chance to win. And you got that, and it hasn't worked out. So you're just going to run away and try and find a new place to try and win now? That I don't really like.
Yeah, I think the big reason is because the big three have only played together on the court at the same time. Well, I don't think it's been more than even 20 times, has it?
Oh, yeah, no. It has been a handful of games between 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that's what he was looking forward to most. And well, he's not getting it. So the winning recipe has not been there to use.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't blame him for wanting to leave because what was supposed to be isn't there. Mm-hmm. So, where could you see him going? I think Philly is one of the probably hotter destinations where he would probably want to go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think Philly would be the best second place scenario behind the Nets. So, yeah, I think Philly is probably the primary place that's in his mind of where to go from here. Mm-hmm. But really, if we look at the other options, I've seen some people talk about the Heat, but I don't really know about that.
I don't think I would like to fit with him and Butler.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't know about that. I don't feel like the way James Harden plays really like fits their system.
I was talking even more just about like how Butler's gonna hold him accountable.
Oh, oh yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms. You know, that boy Harden, he's gonna love it in Miami. You know where he's gonna be after every game. Jimmy Butler gonna be in the gym at 4 a.m. grinding. This man's Harden is gonna be just going to sleep.
What's another team that we could probably see him going to?
Honestly, there is no other team that I could see him going to, really.
There was one more team that I actually just saw. Let me see who was it? Was it the Mavs?
Oh no!
Wait, I saw it in an article. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't remember. I don't know if it was the Mavs, the Nuggets, because I know the Nuggets aren't 100% sure on MPJ anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that might clear up some space, but obviously not enough to probably sign Harden.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I don't think a Harden-Jokic duo would be a bad fit, but it's just I don't necessarily think that it's something that would work out just because of the whole, you know, like you brought up, MPJ's contract is definitely not enough space to free up for Harden. Yeah. And on top of that, what do they do with Jamal Murray at that point? Because he's always been at his best when he can take his plays and get the ball in his own hands.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have Jokic and Harden here, when does he get those chances?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess the real only two options are the Nets and the Heat.
No, the Sixers and the Heat, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Sixers. I mean, unless he decides to re-sign with the Nets, but
yeah, but I
don't know.
He did say testing free agency. He didn't say he was for sure leaving. So,
right,
it is still very likely that he returns to Brooklyn,
unless they trade him.
No.
Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about? I guess before we wrap everything up.
No, that's it.
All right. Well, then that's going to be the end of the episode. If you like the episode and the podcast in general, go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Isaiah, any last comments?
You know, the usual. Don't forget, share this with as many people as you can. It helps us out, and therefore we can help you out and give you a better product. And don't forget to check out the Instagram page, All Ball Podcast YT. And don't be afraid to give us some tips, some requests for topics that you want to hear about, or anything in that ballpark.
All right, we will catch you on the next one.